message from Oregon. We're not going to rest either.
It did more harm to me psychologically, emotionally, and physically than anyone ever even admitted that it might do.
From frustrated politicians to relieved anti-abortion advocates in our region, we're hearing responses on both sides of this issue following the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Keely McCormick. We'll get to their reactions in just a moment, but first to the chaos that erupted in Eugene Friday night. 10 protesters were arrested during what was called a night of rage. Eugene police were forced to use a form of pepper spray to control the rowdy crowd of 75 who threw smoke bombs at police. Some officers reported minor injuries during the 5-hour demonstration. The women's rights protesters came out in an angry response to the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade earlier in the day. 9 people were discharged with disorderly conduct. 1 was also charged with resisting arrest, and 1 was charged with harassment. And people continuing to voice their fear and anger. We're also hearing from those supportive of the change. Our own Megan Allison reports tonight from Portland.
Senator Wyden spoke out against the Supreme Court on Saturday. I asked the senator what action he plans to take now. Wyden says his priorities are making contraception accessible and preventing agencies from using data against people.
These big technology companies, the biggest platforms in the country, if they allow their tools to be used to persecute or prosecute women, they're going to face real consequences.
We also asked the senator how he would respond to people who say getting out to vote is not enough.
I think there's a lot more to this than voting. Voting is a key part of it, but we've got to be everywhere. We've got to be in the communities, we've got to be holding rallies, we've got to be doing advocacy work and education work.
Others feel optimistic about the court's decision. That includes Elizabeth Gillette. The Salem mother got an abortion in 2010, telling us she felt coerced at the time.
I was caught in the middle of a group of people who said this was your right and you chose it, and therefore you don't have the right to mourn your child. And the other side that said, you chose to murder your child and therefore you have done something evil.
Gillette says she understands there are still gaps in care for women and things like funded maternity leave should be a priority in the United States.
I'm celebrating this overturning Roe versus Wade, but there's more work to be done because there are women everywhere right now that are terrified. They are terrified, and I was terrified, and I understand that fear.
That was Megan Allison reporting. The mother says now more work needs to be done to care for families in the country, providing tools like paid maternity leave moving forward. And Oregon is one of several states taking quick action to protect abortion rights. Oregon Governor Kate Brown, along with Washington Governor Jay Inslee and California Governor Gavin Newsom, formed what they're calling the West Coast Offense. They say it's a multi-state commitment to preserve access to reproductive care. Oregon, Washington, and California are expecting to see an influx of people seeking abortions since they're surrounded by conservative states. And the overturning of Roe versus Wade leaves many wondering if this decision could pave the way for more opinions to be overturned in the future. Jen Sullivan further breaks down the fallout from the public and how this decision could impact other rulings.
Defend abortion rights!
Protests and celebrations erupting in cities across the country after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade.
We won't back down! We won't go back!
A nearly 50-year precedent making abortion a constitutionally protected right, now struck down in a 5-4 majority opinion. President Joe Biden expressing his distress once again on Saturday.
We're going to take actions to protect women's rights and reproductive health.
His administration now saying they'll be watchful for any state that violates federal law by blocking women from crossing state lines to get an abortion. 13 states have trigger laws in place, which allows them to quickly ban the procedure.
Each state is going to sort these things out. In Texas, we're going to protect innocent human life in the womb.
Many women in those 13 states now questioning what comes next.
I get pregnant in a situation that is unsustainable and I can't keep the baby, but I also have no recourse to get an abortion. That's my biggest fear.
The Supreme Court's decision also brings into question how this could impact other rulings, like access to contraceptives, gay marriage, and in vitro fertilization, after Justice Clarence Thomas wrote separately other rulings should be revisited. In New York, I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Thanks, Jen. Well, as the heat moves into Eugene, let's take a live look outside tonight with our tower camera. A heat advisory from the National Weather Service remains in effect this weekend across western Oregon as we experience the hottest temperatures of the year. Brisa Mendez is joining us now in the Weather Center with a closer look. Brisa, sounds like these high temps are here to stay.
That's right, Keely. Summer is officially here in western Oregon, and we will continue to see those hot temperatures above average across western Oregon heading into Sunday. As we take a live look outside over the southern Willamette Valley, seeing clear activity and dry conditions. Our current temperatures in the low 80s with 83 degrees, humidity values 41%, with 10 miles per hour wind coming in from the north. Today's high temperatures in the 90s along the I-5, above average for Roseburg, 96 degrees north. Northbend reaching the low 80s with 16 degrees above the average temperature. We are expected to continue to see those 90s along the I-5 heading into Sunday. We're also looking at that heat advisory for the Willamette Valley lasting through Sunday 10 p.m. as we will continue to see those hot temperatures above average. As we continue to see those hot temperatures across western Oregon, make sure you're drinking plenty of water to stay hydrated and be aware of your body's symptoms. If you're feeling too hot and not sweating with a strong pulse, it can be signs of a heart stroke. Temperatures tonight dropping into the 60s and 70s. Tomorrow's high temperatures projected to reach the 90s once again. Keely, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brisa. And with those high temps, many people are heading to the coast. According to the latest data from Safe Kids Oregon, in a year, 38 children drowned and 37 were hospitalized throughout the state. They did not have a life jacket or active supervision. Coastal Farm and Ranch in Eugene's hoping to bring down those numbers by giving out free life jackets to kids. There was a total of 300 jackets to give out to kids ages 12 and under today. Coastal staff say now that it's summer, it's especially the time to keep kids safe on the water.
We're focusing on children right now because water safety is what we're focusing on. Children getting close to the water and proper fit will save lives. So that's our purpose. We just want to save lives and save children.
The free life jacket event wrapped up today, but Eastman says they may have some left over and to call the store if you'd like to pick one up. Well, President Biden signed the first major federal gun safety legislation in decades. The package includes millions of dollars for school safety and mental health and crisis intervention programs. It also expands background checks for the youngest firearm buyers and adds firearm limits for domestic abusers by closing the so-called boyfriend loophole.
While this bill doesn't do everything I want, it does include actions I've long called for that are going to save lives.
The measure comes in the wake of deadly mass shootings in Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas. The bill was a bipartisan compromise to win passage in the Senate on Thursday night. The House gave its approval yesterday with 14 Republican votes. And a U.S. appeals court ordered at least a temporary delay in the federal government's ban on Juul products. The court's action comes as the vaping products company prepares its appeal of the ban. This week, the Food and Drug Administration ordered Juul vaping devices and pods be removed from U.S. store shelves. The marketing denial order is also meant to prohibit future sales. However, the court's Friday ruling allows for review of the FDA order. Juul officials say its request for emergency interim relief helps to avoid major harm to its business by what it calls the government's unlawful action. Still ahead tonight, some Eugenians went over the edge today to raise money for kids in the child welfare system. We'll have more on today's mission next. Plus, experts say Russia is losing manpower and may only be able to last for the next few months. The latest details on the crisis overseas after the break.